You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Richardson versus Smith.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Good day. Ms. Richardson, you say you were in an exclusive relationship with Mr. Smith and even tried to have a baby together. But after you conceived your daughter, Kalani, Mr. Smith started denying your baby. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You intend to prove he is the father today. Mr. Smith, while you admit to having a relationship with Ms. Richardson, you say you were not in town during the window of conception and claim to know who the father is. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Richardson, you say Mr. Smith begged you to have a baby with him?
Yes, Your Honor. Around the time we were together for about 8 months, he had told me he was in a situation where he didn't know if he were going to live a long time, so he had said he wanted a child with me. Me being young and dumb, and I was actually in love with him, I agreed on it. Around October 31st, we were together. I had left Job Corps, which he was still in. I left on the 28th. On the 31st, I had sent for him to come in town for the weekend, so, we can go home on weekends. That day we did have sex, and that's whenever my daughter was conceived. I called him immediately and let him know that I was pregnant. From there on, we start going to appointments together.
So wait a minute. You say he begged you to have the baby?
Yes, he wanted to leave a piece of himself behind, he said.
And Mr. Smith, you wanted to leave a piece of yourself behind. Where did you think you were going? What was happening in your mind?
I wasn't really thinking. Well, she was like,
No.
she have baby fever.
No.
And I was
That's
like,
not at all. I did not have
wow.
baby fever. I was only 19 years
She was talking
old.
to me the whole time on the bus saying, oh, she got baby fever.
That was actually him.
And I basically was like, well, if we both agree we want to have a baby, we can have a baby, Like we could, start trying to have one.
For what?
I don't know. Just the thought of it, I guess. I don't.
He actually wanted to have a child. Once we didn't conceive in June and July, I told him that we weren't financially stable and I wanted to wait until we're further in our relationship.
How long were you all together at this point?
We were together for 8 months when he first started, but I've known him for a good bit of years.
Ms. Richardson, I can't let you go any further unless I just have a moment with you.
Okay.
Baby, you cannot have babies by everybody you feel like you fall in love with. I can see, we about 3 minutes in, and I can see that you decided you had fallen in love with him, and from there on, everything you heard come out his mouth, everything you saw was through the lens of love that you had created. Because he stood right here, and the second thing out of his mouth was, I really wasn't trying to be with her that long, but if we wanted to have a baby and she wanted to do it, okay. Everything is so nonchalant.
Which is a lie. He definitely wanted to be with me. It's been times we've broken up, and he has came back to me saying he wanted to be with me. He stayed with me for a year.
Did he marry you?
No.
Okay. So let me explain what being with you means and what being with you means. Now, this is just woman to woman. You've got to be able to decide and be able to know the difference between being his comfort and his convenience and being the commitment. What I'm hearing now is, yeah, he might come back and forth. That's because you let him. Yes, he wants to be with you in the bed. You understand? That does not mean he's going to stick around for a relationship or for the child. Let's fast forward to the point where you tell him you're pregnant. What is his reaction? Now, you say he wanted this baby. What was his reaction?
He was quiet on the phone, and he had asked to see the pregnancy test.
And so, Mr. Smith, when you got this news that she was pregnant, was it the news you wanted to hear? Were you excited about having a baby, or what were you feeling?
I actually was excited.
You were excited?
Yes, ma'am.
At what point do you feel doubtful then?
I was doubtful at the first.
You were?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Well, why you all had been planning for this?
I thought she probably found somebody else outside of Job Corps, or probably got old
I called him every day.
friends.
He called me every day. I worked from 2 in the p.m. till 11 at night. So there was no time I could cheat at all. I called him each time.
Mr. Smith disagrees. He's shaking his head when you testify.
We were with each other almost every weekend. Every time I went home, he went home.
What part of that story do you disagree with, Mr. Smith?
The date. I don't remember coming home that day.
Whenever he'd be mad at me, he'd be like, that's not my baby. So by that time, I was like, you know what? I just don't want nothing to do with you. It's not your child. It's mine.
That's a lie.
It is.
All
I
right,
told you
so
plenty of
I want to
times.
hear from your witness, Mr. Smith, because I want to understand where this doubt stems from, and I want to see if they can provide the court with some answers. Please stand, ma'am. Step up to the podium. And state your name for the court.
Brianna Smith,
Miss Smith, you are Mr. Smith's
twin sister.
twin sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you know.
She, when we were cool with each other, she would confide in me about my brother. And I do know that they were planning to have a baby or whatever. And, when she did tell him about it, he was excited about it to a certain extent. At first he didn't.
So he was excited?
Yeah.
And you remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, go ahead.
At first he didn't tell me that he had any doubt about anything. It just, progressed, I guess, with him even more when the pregnancy got further along, and she, her attitude is very, very vicious. She would say stuff that would, make him feel even more like Kalani's not his daughter. I would hear voicemails, I would see messages.
And what did these voicemails say? And what did these messages say?
She was upset at him. She just was saying how Kalani was sitting. She was with another dude, and she was smiling and she was happy about the person, basically insinuating.
Sitting in his lap.
Yeah.
Look just like her.
They do not look nothing alike except the
Yes,
skin
You
color.
think he looks like her?
I
too?
Just like
actually.
him. Looks just like him.
They do
When I
not.
seen the- when I
they
seen
do
the
not
video-
look anything
I have
alike.
evidence I would like to show.
I'd like to see that.
Okay.
What is this evidence,
What
Ms.
this
Smith?
picture is, it's a picture of Kalani, and it's a picture of me when I was 4 months old. And with Bobby, me and him being twins, I feel like she should look like me to a certain extent. And she has the big eyes. I'll give her that.
Just like her mother.
But as far as the lips and the things of that nature, I just don't see it. And honestly, I'm going to be truthful here. At first, I did think that Kalani was Bobby's, but after seeing all of these messages and seeing how she acts and all the things that she say, it is hard to believe. And then with the video, I never seen the dude in person. This is the same dude that she posted on her Facebook as her Man Crush Monday. I would never allow no dude to do that, period. You doing stuff out of spite to make him upset.
This is a still of the video you submitted.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Definitely.
That is her godfather.
And
if
if you-
he chooses to kiss
Godfather-
her on the
If
forehead,
you
that's not the
choose-
lips. On the
if
forehead,
you can
she
read,
can
if
do
you can
that.
see the video, ma'am, if you can see the video, honestly, your opinion of a godfather, that's not it. You know what I mean? I've never seen somebody.
Well, look, I get it. And Ms. Richardson, this is what's difficult because as a woman, I do want you to understand, and I have to say this a lot in this courtroom because it is true and it never changes and it will never change. Once you ring that bell and say this isn't your baby, you ain't never getting that bell back. That bell has rung. It is vibrating. You hearing the echo of it. It will not stop. So this gentleman, I want to stop right here because I want to hear from him because he's in court today. Jerome,
That's his daughter.
will you please escort Mr. Brock into the courtroom?
Take a step this way. Thank you. Sir, with me. I'll go right up next to the judge on the witness stand.
Mr. Brock,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for joining us today.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to know what is your relationship exactly with Ms. Richardson?
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I would die for Brianna, and I'll take my last breath for that little girl up on the screen right there, and that's my goddaughter. And it's just because I've built that relationship with him that quick. We've told each other things that I have told nobody else. We've been through things that I have told nobody else. We've been through some bad times, even in just the 8. Like people are focused on the 8 months that we've known each other. A lot
Oh
happened
God,
in
this
8
is so
months.
exhausting.
So
you
it's
all
like-
are all just kids.
Exactly.
And everything is so
Exactly.
intense. It's like I'm thinking about a baby. Have you ever seen a baby the first time they taste the food and it's just so, and you can just get inside of them and see how good that flavor is to them because it's new and it's everything you all feel is so intense. And 30 years from now, y'all gonna be talking about, you remember Brianna, where is she? I mean, and it troubles me because what I see is a pattern with each of you where you are establishing these intense emotions, feelings, and connections, and yet you don't have the maturity to recognize the complicated familial connections that are now formed, unformed, and affected because of the way you all are conducting yourselves in these relationships. Do you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
And the last I heard, the parents choose the godparents together. And that's another fact we don't have on track, because you all ain't on track because you're kids. It's all messy. You're not ready for all of this. You're not ready for it emotionally. You're not ready for it at all. This is hard enough on adults. Okay, I want to hear from your next witness. Ma'am, will you please stand? I'd like to hear from you.
My name is Darlene Bagley, and I'm the twins' mother.
Oh, thank you for joining us, Ms. Bagley. So, I've been trying to talk to these young people, Ms. Bagley.
Yes.
They've gotten themselves in a situation.
Yes.
What do you know about this? Do you believe Kalani is your granddaughter?
Yes, I do.
You do?
They always did have problems. They always did, but I stayed neutral, because I didn't want to get in between, not seeing her because I'm on my son's side. But once this video came out, that's when everything in me changed. He was holding the baby and kissing on her. I'm like, I don't even know this guy. Do my son know this guy? If you're a godfather, why we don't know you? Where did you come from?
Every time he gets mad, he said, oh, that's not my daughter. Oh, that's not my daughter. I'm not going to put my all into her because I don't know if that's my daughter. He has plenty of times to get a DNA test. He's on child support. He had a time to get a DNA test, but he didn't want to because at first he doesn't want Kalani to grow up that he got a DNA test on her. Then it's, oh, I don't want to spend my shopping money.
Well, see, then that's another problem that you're too young to understand.
Right.
Because if you have a doubt, you get the DNA test. It's not about when the child grows up, you don't want her to know that you got a DNA test on her. That's the problem today. Everybody tells all their business all the time. So where do we go from here? You now believe, you have doubts, Ms. Bagley, even though you say you believe she's yours, or do you hope she's your grandchild?
I hope and pray. I really do. I really do.
Okay.
And why does it make you so emotional? You've grown attached to her?
I lost a son 5 years ago, and he didn't leave any kids behind. So I think Bobby probably thought that he was gonna die young, and that maybe that's why he had the baby. I don't know, but I'm hoping she is. She's a beautiful baby. She's a good baby, and I'm looking, if she is, I'm looking forward to spending time with her.
Listen, you all have all been through a lot, and because of that, you all are taking actions, like I said, that really don't support Kalani. And in this moment, let's all just refocus as we go forward to these results on who and what is most important.
Right.
And that's her. Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
Okay.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Richardson versus Smith, pertaining to whether Mr. Brock or Mr. Smith is the father of 8-month-old Kalani Smith. In the case of Richardson versus Smith, pertaining to whether Mr. Brock or Mr. Smith is the father of 8-month-old Kalani Smith, it has been determined by this court the biological father is Mr. Smith. Now we have the result. We know the truth. Where do we go from here, family?
people to know I'm her father now, so, you know. Real
And
father.
listen, how will people know? Let's grow up in this moment right before we go.
Yes, ma'am.
How will they know?
Well,
We're not talking about no Facebook
ma'am.
posts. We're talking about some
Definitely not.
face-to-face child rearing, right?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Right.
Definitely.
Loving a child is oftentimes about sacrificing yourself, your own feelings, right? And maybe you all need to take advantage of this counseling and these resources we have for you all and sit down and hammer this out. Because one thing I will say, you don't want to get into a position where your actions and the drama and everything you bring to pass push her father away, right? Because we've seen that, don't we see that, Jerome? You all take advantage of this counseling. You need it. I wish you the very best of luck, and I'm going to check on this baby. Court is adjourned.